WWE, AEW, which one's better? I mean, everyone's got some pretty firm opinions on this if you go on the internet lately, especially after NXT beats AEW this past Tuesday with their ratings and stuff like that. So let's get into this. Welcome to Bad Guy Wrestling. So today, we're going to be talking about AEW, WWE, specifically even with some NXT, what makes them different, which one's better, and all of that kind of stuff. And so as I was saying before, a lot of this is spurred recently from this past Tuesday. So at the time of filming this video this week, NXT has their show, their weekly show here, but the big deal is that NXT is on Tuesdays, AEW's on Dynamite's on Wednesday. But for this special week, for Tony Khan's birthday or whatever the hell, Title Tuesday, they're calling it, Dynamite on Tuesday. So these two shows are going head to head for the first time in quite a while since the NXT moved to Tuesday nights a couple of years ago, something like that. So anyways, let's take a look at some information here. Let's pull it up here. So reported yesterday, the viewership here, NXT and AEW, and so these are getting compared because they are the same night. But let's take a look at it here. WWE beats AEW Dynamite's viewership on October 10th. So NXT gets almost 1 million views, 921,000 viewers, which is up for them. Last week, the week before that, 857,000 viewers. The other aspect of it is AEW's number, which are quite less. 609,000 turned in for AEW's Dynamite on the Title Tuesday show. Let's see. This number is down from last week when 800,000 viewers watched the show. So let's see. Lowest viewership since May 28, 2021, when it was 526,000 viewers. So yeah, that's quite a big drop. 300,000. Or was it 200,000 viewers did not watch your show since the week before that? But let's look at some of the details here. Let's look at the show. Let's look at this NXT show. I was checking it out here. I mean, right off the bat, this Bleacher Report article has, what you guessed it, John Cena right there. So one of the things is the show was not the normal NXT show. Absolutely. So let's see some of the names here. Cody Rhodes made major announcement in the opening match for commercial-free first 30 minutes. And then he is the acting GM for the night. John Cena appears at the Performance Center for the first time. And in the corner of Carmelo Hayes for his match, almost giving Braun Breaker an attitude adjustment later. Paul Heyman in the show. I mean, Paul Heyman in the corner of Braun Breaker. Asuka is on here. Challenges Roxanne Perez to a match. And let's see here. And then what else? I think everyone else is kind of NXT regulars. Baron Corbin now is an NXT regular. Carmelo Hayes, all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing, appearance from The Undertaker. And why this is important is because this was a rumor leading into that show that he might be showing up. And he did. He did show up. So a lot of this here, you got some pretty big names on here. So let's take a look back here. AEW. could not compete, at least this week, with WWE's, especially NXT. I mean, a lot of it, 200,000 viewer drop here is quite a big deal. I mean, my first thoughts would be then that it's those 200 probably went and watched the NXT show, knowing that the rumors and the big star-studded cast on this show. It's not a normal NXT show. I don't really watch NXT. I watch highlights and stuff I see on social media, but there's a reason I don't watch NXT, because it's NXT. I mean, this is not. I want to see kind of the best, the top show stuff. The NXT, I'm just not the biggest fan. Every time I watch it, it's kind of corny. It's cookie cutter put together. It's like they're more trying to find everyone's like kind of image and things like that, but it just doesn't feel like, it feels like people that are the Performance Center, cast that are trying to figure it out. So this is, what it is. And honestly, it's kind of interesting that they even have a televised show for this, but people love it. I mean, I think there's a point where if WWE is putting out something, it doesn't matter what there's going to be people watching it because of people's love for wrestling, and sometimes not even the discerning taste. It just doesn't matter. Whatever wrestling, they will watch it. I don't know if this is the case here, but I haven't been a big fan of NXT, and so there's nothing wrong if you like it. Great. But I think there's also some symptoms here that we're getting into. AEW. WWE denies the fact that AEW ran them off of Wednesday nights when Wednesday Dynamite was dominating, just really dominating the NXT. I don't care what you say. They moved to Tuesdays because AEW was whooping that ass. That's what it was. And so, but a lot has changed since then. I mean, we're talking about, I believe it's pandemic time when this started. And I'll be the first to admit it. I mean, I love AEW. The first televised show was in DC, right down from where I work, where I do marketing communications, right there in Chinatown, DC, by the Capital One Arena there. And I mean, that's been exciting. I didn't get into it at first, but really what got me into AEW was wanting something else that WWE wasn't providing for me. So I decided to check it out. And just one show into it was enough. Even with not knowing the characters as well, besides like Chris Jericho and stuff like that. No clue who MJF was at the time. No clue Sammy Guevara. Was Mox. Mox was there. Mox, Jericho were the guys. Kenny Omega I knew of, but I didn't really, follow him because I wasn't following New Japan, things like that at the time. So, when AEW came on the scene, they were a breath of fresh air in a lot of ways, and that really goes into some of the differences here. So again, NXT was not getting the viewership of AEW Dynamite, but now looks how it's changing. NXT is on the come up again. AEW viewership is down. So what does WWE do really well? Well, I mean, their marketing, their imagery, everything about the product is good. Their camera work is better than AEW. The scenes, the big displays and stuff, even though I do have a soft spot for kind of more minimalist ring entrance and stuff like that. I mean, you can't deny WWE's got it down. The media that they do, the whole looks and everything of coming down the stage, the way the ring looks, the announcing, like whether or not you're entertained by it is one thing, but the quality and the look of the product is awesome. You're not beating them. Everything, it almost looks like a mini movie sports spectacle where whatever they do, I don't know, they drop the frame rate or something, I don't know. I know, and it almost hinders on being too polished. The look for it it probably is too polished, not as rugged and kind of like the quality of like back in the 90s and stuff, which were still really good at the time, but it just and that is one of their biggest things, just this really defined, polished look. Now we get into storytelling. They are really good at storytelling. Now sometimes they fly off the deep end, or they drag stuff out. It gets boring and stale. But this is what they do. The creative aspects that WWE has also beats AEW for sure. When they really want to get behind somebody and kind of further their story, things like that, they are hard to beat with those resources. Names right now, they have the biggest names. Of course, AEW's got Edge now, but just look at like AEW MJF storylines, how they're mentioning WWE for a while in their promo. He's talking about the bidding war for 2024, stuff like that. So they're obviously acknowledging WWE over on the AEW side, because they know they're still the top dogs on this. Storytelling, production quality, star power, and just experience. I mean, their experience is killing it. Like in the last couple of weeks, AEW's had technical problems with TBS, where they had to replay that Adam Cole video package where he's over at Next Strong's house and moving the furniture around and stuff like that, and they've had some mic outages, things like that. So the production it's not there. They're definitely in some growing pains now. AEW impressed at first, but they're definitely experiencing growing pains now. So some of the things that WWE doesn't do as well that AEW does better, and you haven't heard me actually talk about the wrestling yet. So the actual in-ring wrestling is better in AEW. You can say whatever you want. I'm not going to change my mind. Please say it. Please argue with me. Come after me now. But yeah, it's better. I mean, but it makes sense. A lot of these guys, WWE seems to want to develop a lot of people, on that NXT show. They come in, some of them are just really good athletes, never wrestled before. Some of them, most of them are young, stuff like that. Kevin Owens is an anomaly on the NXT, in a lot of ways on NXT and stuff like that. Big, indie career, and before he comes to NXT, and then eventually the champion there, and then the rest is history as he challenged John Cena and all that kind of stuff to go on. But one of the side effects is they're all learning from the same performance center, and that's kind of what gets lost with me with NXT, is the fact that you're looking at this. It seems like they have a very, very regimented formula that they use and it borderlines on a lot of corny stuff too. They come out, do your signature pose, make sure you look at the right cameras, get your catchphrase. Doesn't matter if it's a good catchphrase. I don't even know why everyone has to have a catchphrase, but we do all this. We practice the look, the image, and stuff like that, and then we hope we get better in the ring. And so, like I said, you got some really good athletes and stuff like that. They're doing spectacular stuff, but they aren't really telling a story in the ring. They're just going from move to move, trying to be as impressive. And so in AEW, on the other hand, you have a lot of veterans. You have a lot of people from that were in New Japan, Indies, touring around, things like that. So they have just years and hundreds of matches under their belt, and they can work with a whole bunch of people. And they can be fluid, and it doesn't look like they ever lost a beat. Now, are they as well known? Of course not. But when it comes to actual experience in the ring and wrestling, AEW wins on that one. They do. But that's one of the few areas where they're better, I would say. And they really hype it up. Is FTR the best tag team in the world? Maybe. I mean, just got mollywopped this past week, but on Collision. But if we just talk about wrestling talent, yeah, maybe they are. Maybe they are the best tag team in the world. But newsflash, as far as the most entertaining, over the top and stuff, until more recently, until this past up until this year, it was the Usos. They were on top. I don't care who you like and stuff like that. because wrestling is not just about your in-ring talent, who's the best athlete, who's the best wrestler. It's about who's getting over, the storyline. It's about who's the crowd backing, the push, and stuff like that. It was obviously the Usos were the best tag team in the world then. They were the most dominant tag team champions of recent mind, maybe even of all time in WWE. I don't know what the numbers were off the top of my head and stuff like that. And that's staying power, that's lasting power. FTR, they just dropped the belts now, but the thing is, like, it doesn't really matter storyline wise because their story's the same. We're the best wrestlers, top guys out, we love our family, we love wrestling, and we'll challenge you to a match anytime. Okay, well, right, you've heard that a million times. So they might be the better wrestlers in the ring, but storyline wise, WWE is killing it on that. They've had some of the most iconic moments and stuff like that. Now, let's get to another point. Man, WWE is killing it on the management versus AEW, and that's really because of AEW's downfall lately. Really questioning a lot of these Tony Khan moves. I've said this on other videos, but CM Punk situation should have never even gotten as serious it was. It should have never gotten to the point where like people would be throwing blows and things like that, and the wrestlers are determining like what happens. And so it really is just mind-boggling in that sense that he's loses Jade Cargill, lets her walk on there. I mean there's only so much you can do, I guess, if she decided she was out. But you're not developing much of your women's division. That's another check for WWE right there. Women's division's much better. It's just making all these boneheaded moves lately. You lose to NXT, and then you get on Twitter and start talking about how it's not fair, this and that, and how you didn't like what they did. You got beat, dude. You got beat. Like, stop getting on Twitter and marking out. Tony Khan, like, it didn't, or who got in trouble? MJF got in trouble because he called him a mark. Well, that's because he is a mark. I mean, he's making decisions based on the fact of who he likes and, like, his love of wrestling and not business, not running a company and stuff like that. So management here, I mean, maybe there's writing on the wall coming that AEW with all this promise and, like, things like that, maybe it's not maybe the viewership's down for a reason. Maybe you've been having trouble writing compelling storylines. Maybe your storylines don't make sense. Maybe you bring in Saraya, give her the belt for 44 days, and then take it off of her to Hikaru Shida, which I'm still trying to figure that one, and we talked about it in my last video. So management and just continuity and stuff like that, it just WWE. But I'll give one more thing here to AEW, so I'll give them that. And it's kind of their image and stuff like that. WWE kind of took big hits and a lot of more traditional wrestling fans, especially from the Attitude Era on. They lost a lot of people when it went to the the PG era that is. And they've gained a little bit of the grittiness back here in the more recent years. But here's the thing, it's still like in this weird in between of like not committing to the like that grittiness and trying to still keep everything kind of more PG-ish. It's not the PG era anymore. So as far as kind of like adult entertainment and less silliness and just things like that, AEW gets the nod here for sure. They're much grittier. Even the fact that the production quality isn't as good kind of fits their image here and things like that. It's more gritty. It's a more kind of real, less about the spectacle, the CGI, Roman Reigns, things like that. And, think the overlays, the camera angles, all that stuff. It's more about, the individual talent in the ring and some of that stuff. So, I'll put it this way. I can watch WWE, I watch it, obviously, and I enjoy it, but I get excited for the AEW Dynamite and Collision. And of course, Rampage, but I usually don't watch that live. So, where WWE, I'm excited for matches normally. Raw's way too long. 3 hours is too long. It should have never gone to 3 hours. SmackDown is good at 2 hours. I'm not watching NXT, not until it proves that it's a much better show, and things like that. So that's why a lot of this, I've really do a lot of content on AEW, because the kind of the more grittiness and the less over the top production and the and it just, I don't know, it feels more real to me. And the wrestling is better, but I wish I could combine some of these the strengths of WD, in especially with the storyline writing, stuff like that. You know, we're talking about the creative aspects that WWE is really good at, and some of the management. If I could put that into AEW, I would. It's just a shame with AEW right now that, you know, it seems like there's some mismanagement going on, but who knows? That, you know, you have a couple good weeks in a row of momentum, you'll make us not even remember that this was ever a thing. So yeah, so final thoughts here. You know, it's still, to me, it's not AEW versus NXT. I know a lot of people want to paint it that way, and they did lose. I mean, they lost like the 49ers beat up on the Cowboys this past week, 42-10. So yeah, that's basically what just happened. NXT was the 49ers and AEW was the Cowboys, and they just whooped on them. And then after the fact, you know, the Cowboys talking about how Michael Parsons talking about how San Francisco isn't better. We just beat ourselves and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of how it's feeling right now with Tony Khan. So, is this NXT is now on top? No, it's still AEW versus Raw and SmackDown shows. NXT is still NXT, and you know, you got a big bump this week because of some of the names and the things like that. I mean, I knew it was coming. I saw the rumors, so I was on the lookout to see if it was going to happen. I was checking Twitter. I was looking at Instagram. I was, you know, things like that to see the little clips and updates. But that's the fact is, AEW slipping. WWE is rebounding from AEW's initial like push the last couple of years, and unless AEW does something to really kind of solidify the sinking ship, who knows what happens. But you were killing it. You've made some terrible mistakes. You need to really get it back under control. Stop making stupid decisions based on being a mark and things like that. So I still get more excited for AEW, but I will give it to WWE right now. It is a better product right now. And look what competition did for it. It went from me looking for other promotions when WWE was the only choice for quite a while for, you know, the big leagues here, to now they've had to step their game up because of AEW, and now AEW is the one that's like, let's not become WCW. So yeah, all right. Well, thanks for checking this out. This was a long rant on this one. Please like, subscribe for this. Trying to put out as much content as I can on the channel. And thank you for checking it out. This is Bad Guy Wrestling, and I hope to talk to you again. See you later.